is Xavier Robert coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom. Let's take a look at the headlines. Federal Executive Council approves 49 billion naira revised sum for Enugu-Anambra Link Road. President Buhari makes case for futuristic untainted beheading. The details of these stories and more in a moment. We'll begin tonight with an update from the Federal Executive Council FEC, which has approved the sum of 49 billion naira, being the revised sum presided over by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo today at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Fashola said his ministry sought and obtained 2 approvals from the Council. In the meantime, federal government has approved 6.28 billion naira for surface maintenance of the third mainland bridge, Lagos State. The Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, who briefed State House correspondents, including interchanges, ramps, and critical links. He said the move aligns with Executive Order 11, signed by the President Muhammadu Buhari in April 2022, which gave legal backing to the country's nudge to repair failed and peeled asphaltic sections and structure. Meanwhile, the Federal Executive Council has the Minister of State for Transportation, Ademola Adegoroye, stated this at a briefing today after the council meeting presided over by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. He stated that the devices had become imperative because of the need to advance the security of lives and property in the nation's railway facilities and in continuation of the railway stakeholders to decongest correctional facilities in Nigeria. The Minister of Interior, Rauf Arabeshola, made the disclosure during a roundtable conversation with Prisoner Rehabilitation and Welfare Action and representatives of donors today in Abuja. This was contained in a statement signed by the Deputy Director, Press and Public Relations, Afonja Ajibola, today. Arabeshola said correctional centers and fines and some on minor offences. According to the minister, the number of people in jail houses as first offenders is less than 20%. In the meantime, the federal government has said it is working to remove multiple taxation on roads to promote free movement of goods within the country. The Minister of Transport, Muazu Sambo, made this known at the 10th National Delegates Conference of the Roads and Regulations. He added that road transport accounts for 90% of the movement of goods, services and persons, and it's tied to the economic recovery and growth plan of the present administration. On social media platforms, the Director of Public Affairs Department, ITF, Soleyo Chago, disclosed this in a statement. According to the statement, Chago dismissed claims of the ongoing recruitment in ITF. She said the viral advertisement on social media platforms is an attempt to defraud some unsuspecting Nigerians. Away from that, President Muhammadu Buhari today in Medina, Saudi Arabia, said the spread of true knowledge of the religion of Islam, latest technological tools in presenting the core of Islam, its lofty purposes and qualitative teachings. Speaking after an extensive tour of the International Fair and Museum of the Prophet's biography and Islamic civilization in the city as part of his engagement in the Holy City, President Buhari said the Muslim community needs a system that is futuristic, bringing knowledge and education in a new system that will make for a good understanding of the very features of the religion. Ponzi schemes in Nigeria. Recall that the Investment and Securities Service Bill 2023 scaled through the final hurdle of the National Assembly when the Senate passed it on March 29. The bill had also been passed by the House of Representatives in December, but was only awaiting presidential act, reduce systemic risks as well as provide for more stringent punishment for operators of Ponzi schemes. The one added that the passed bill prohibits Ponzi and pyramid schemes as well as other illegal investment schemes and prescribes a jail term. Noah has joined the race for the office of Speaker in the coming 10th National Assembly. The current member of the House officially declared her speakership ambition at a press conference in Abuja on Tuesday. Onoha, who is representing Onuimu Isialamba no Kigwe Federal Constituency in Imo State on the platform of the ruling op in the House, is the second member from the Southeast geopolitical zone to have joined the race after Benjamin Kalu from Abia State, who is chairman of the House Committee on Media and Public Affairs. On electoral matters now, the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC has said that over 3,000 bimodal voter authentication systems BVAS elections in 2,660 polling units across 185 local government areas of 24 states. According to the Commission, supplementary governorship elections will be held in 20 local governments of each of Adamawa and Kebbi states, while state houses of assembly elections will be held in 57 constituencies across 17 states. Constituency 2 and Kana Federal Constituency for Saturday, 15th April 2023. The Rivers State Resident Electoral Commissioner Johnson Sinikiem, who disclosed this in a statement, called on all political parties and residents of the areas affected to take note of the date for the scheduled elections. INEC therefore called on all registered voters in the affected polling units to come. The Commission further assured the people of its commitment to ensuring a successful supplementary election. In politics now, the ruling All Progressives Congress APC has adopted the direct mode of primary for the conduct of the governorship primary election in Kogi State on Saturday. The party initially announced an indirect primary based on the request of the State Working Committee SWC, but the process for compiling the list was questionable. Ahead of the shadow election, it was gathered the party, after considering the various petitions, adopted a direct mode of election. It was vote. Meanwhile, the party's decision was conveyed to the electoral body by the acting national chairman Abubakar Kyari, dated 6th April 2023. The PDP, in a statement signed by State Secretary of the party, Farouk Yahaya, noted that at no time did it contemplate suspension of the governorship aspirant. Yahaya, in the statement, warned trouble and mischief makers who are bent on causing a crisis in the PDP in public to discountenance the misleading information, pointing out that it is fake news. Now, the elected governor of the state, Doye Diri, is the only person cleared by the screening committee for the exercise. The event is taking place at the Gabriel Okara Cultural Center, Yanagwa, the state capital. The ad hoc delegates were drawn from the 8 local government areas of the state. Meanwhile, the governor of Osun State, Ademola Adeleke, presided over the primary election. Imo State governorship election. This followed the PDP's primary election held today at the party's primary held in the state secretariat of the party in Owerri, Imo State capital. Anyanwu is expected to hold in Bayelsa, Kogi, and Imo states on November 11, 2023. In another development, the National Emergency Management Agency, the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, and Malam Aminu Kano International Airport, Kano, respectively. The Lagos coordinator, Nema Ibrahim Farinloye, in a statement said the 152 Libyan returnees included 25 children and 127 adults. Meanwhile, the Kano Territorial Office of the agency coordinator at about 2:15 p.m., noting that the returnees comprised 34 males, 18 females, and 52 children. According to him, the government will train the returnees on the skill acquisition programs to enable them. He advised Nigerians to shun illegal migration and avoid endangering their lives by traveling to seek greener pastures elsewhere. Reports say the agency has so far also received 444 stranded Nigerians from Niamey, Niger Republic between February and April 2023. Postponed indefinitely the training for enumerators and supervisors earlier slated for April 13. The Census Committee Chairman Ipalipo Harry revealed this to newsmen in Abuja. Harry assured that the postponement would not affect the conduct, noting that they had already concluded the training of quality data managers and others. According to the Census Committee Chairman, a new date for the training of the enumerators and supervisors will be commemorations of livestock guards and the state paramilitary agency saddled with the enforcement of the state open grazing for a period of 2 weeks to allow all headsmen with livestock in the state leave. Out have disclosed this at the end of the State Security Council meeting after over 130 persons were reportedly killed across the state within 1 week. According to him, the suspension was to show a good faith to all those who claimed to have come into the state with agencies in the state have confirmed the receipt of President Buhari's directive to fish out perpetrators of the mass killings across the state, urging them to act fast on the matter in order to bring justice to the victims of the attacks. Strike in the Beningwari local government area of Kaduna State. The bandits were said to be attacking Sabon Lai village in Beningwari local government area today. Home Affairs Samuel Aruwan. The bandits were shooting, rustling cattle, looting property and committing other heinous crimes, a situation which had residents scampering for safety. According to the troops, however, sighted the bandits at about 4 kilometers north of Sabon Lai village while they were fleeing for cover from the aircraft. Here, Akwa Ibom State Police Command has called for the installation of closed-circuit television CCTV cameras in major cities to reduce the crime rate in the state. These spokesperson to MacDon, there should be a digitalization of all apparatus in the state in order to combat crime. He called on Governor-elect Umar Basieno to make it a priority in his administration. Meanwhile, he lamented the rising number of car thefts in Akwa Ibom. International Institute of Journalism, Uyo Center, Akwa Ibom State have commended Taft Media Group, owners of Spectrum Television, Planet FM and Tangsio FM for its professionalism in the media organization. Speaking during a tour around the facilities, they disclosed that they have obtained a broader knowledge on news production, broadcasting, and journalism at large.
It's a very nice experience. Let me start that way. Nice experience in the sense that maybe I will say this is the first time of seeing a studio, a TV studio, and apart from the TV studio, that the Spectrum.
The electronic media productions has been an amazing experience for me.
It impacts on me as a student of journalism, and because when I'll go.
Meanwhile, a lecturer at the institution, George Udo, appreciated the management for the opportunity to tour around the facilities and called on the state government to encourage the media station by providing access road to
this organization by providing them motorable road, because we kind of maybe I should say suffered. We were exposed to a lot of things as we were coming, and that can ask them to do more.
Still to come in the news. U.S. inflation rate falls more than expected to 5% in March. Do stay with us.
Every day, we bring you up-to-date information on topical issues affecting the common Nigerian. From issues on politics,
hello Nigerians, I remain committed.
Security, and Uyai and Eken every weekday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Rise and Shine Daily. Exclusive on Spectrum Television.
Every society is premised on the qualities thrive and how long they stick together. Join Uyai and Yekan on Connect every Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. and on Sunday 2:30 to 3 p.m. on channel 421 on Star Times to catch all the conversations, interviews, Connect live on Spectrum Television.
Business exists only to meet the needs of the people, but there's an extra advantage if you're and so much more. Advertise on Spectrum Television, on Star Times DTH Channel 421 and on free-to-air with a frequency of 12733. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
One truth, not often today. On Spotlight Africa, we paint the African picture the African way, laced with truth, detail, and the color of the African continent. Join Uyai and Yekan every Tuesday and Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Spotlight Africa, telling the African story.
Many thanks for staying tuned. We move on now to Africa, where South Africa today said an international arrest warrant for Russian President Vladimir Putin over the Ukraine war was a spanner in the works ahead of a BRICS summit in the country in August. Pretoria, which has close ties with Moscow, has been faced with a diplomatic dilemma since the International Criminal Court (ICC) issued an arrest warrant against Putin in March. The Russian president is due to attend a summit of the BRICS, a bloc which groups together Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa in August. But the host nation is a member of the ICC and would be expected to make the arrest if Putin steps foot in the country. Still in Africa now, a Ugandan cabinet minister charged over a scandal involving the theft of thousands of metal roofing sheets has been denied bail for a second time. The magistrate of the anti-corruption court ruled that the sureties offered up by Mary Goretti Kitutu Kimono's lawyers were not sufficient. Kitutu was remanded in custody last Thursday after pleading not guilty to corruption of over 14,500 corrugated iron sheets intended for vulnerable communities in the northeast Karamoja region that went missing. The 60-year-old politician is the minister for the region that for decades has faced persistent droughts and flooding when it rains, leaving many in the semi-arid area dependent on aid. According to reports, at least 10 other senior government figures are alleged to have received some of the stolen metal sheets. These include the Vice President, the Prime Minister, the Parliamentary Speaker, and other ministers. In the meantime, Tunisian police used tear gas to disperse about 100 African asylum seekers and migrants who had been camping outside the headquarters of the UN Refugee Agency in the capital, Tunis, for some 25 days. The group, in an open letter, said they had taken refuge near the building after being chased out of several Tunisian cities following a February speech by President Kais Saied slamming illegal immigration. Recall that on April 3, the agency in Tunisia announced on its Facebook page that it had stopped all registration and pre-registration activities from 31st March to 17th April due to a migration of the registration and identity system. Meanwhile, 10 people trying to reach Europe have drowned off the coast of Tunisia after their boat was wrecked at sea. Coast Guard say 72 of those on board, all of who were from sub-Saharan Africa, were rescued near the port city of Sfax. Tunisia has taken over from Libya as the main departure point for people fleeing poverty and conflict in the same period last year. Elsewhere, Syria is to reopen its diplomatic mission in Tunisia after more than a decade. The decision follows an announcement by Tunisia's President Kais Saied that his country would reopen its embassy in Damascus. Syria's relations with Arab states have recently improved. Now, President Bashar al-Assad has visited both the United Arab Emirates and Oman and has held talks with Saudi Arabia. Reports say later this week, 9 Arab countries are due to meet in Riyadh to discuss moves to end Damascus's isolation since the start of Syria's long civil war. In the meantime, police in Tanzania are holding 63 Ethiopian migrants after their arrest in the southwestern Njombe region near the border with Malawi. Njombe Regional Police Commander Hamis Issa said the migrants were arrested after their lorry was involved in an accident. Issa said about 100 Ethiopian immigrants sneaked into the country through the porous border between Tanzania and Kenya. According to reports, about 40 others are said to be on the run. Ethiopian migrants seeking better living conditions in South Africa often transit through Kenya, Tanzania, and Mozambique to reach their destination. Meanwhile, businesses have been reopening in towns and cities across Ethiopia's Amhara region following 6 days of violent protests over plans to reorganize the armed forces. At least 5 people have died in the demonstrations. People took to the streets after Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said he intended to integrate the country's regional forces into one national army in order to improve security and unity. Meanwhile, some in Amhara fear that without its own special forces, the region would be more vulnerable to attacks. According to reports, the troops from Amhara fought alongside the Ethiopian army in the recent war in the northern Tigray region. To Kenya now, where main opposition coalition has announced plans to hold direct engagements with the public as it prepares for talks with the government on electoral reforms. Azimio la Umoja coalition, led by veteran opposition leader Raila Odinga, said it remained committed to easing political tension through dialogue after its anti-government protests turned violent last month. It said it would hold its first town hall meeting on Thursday, followed by a public rally on Sunday in the capital. Elsewhere, there are reports from the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo of fighting involving M23 rebels near the city of Goma. According to reports this week, the rebels have been withdrawing from towns they had seized in recent months. This has brought hope that a peace agreement would see an end to the violence, which has displaced more than 750,000 people in North Kivu province. Meanwhile, today's violence does not appear to have involved Congolese government troops, and so is not seen as a major setback to the peace process. On the foreign scene now, where Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has denounced Russian alleged beasts after a video surfaced on social media purporting to show the decapitation of a Ukrainian prisoner of war. The grisly footage, which prompted outrage and condemnation from UN and EU officials, came as Washington reaffirmed its confidence in Ukraine's military capability after a leaked trove of highly sensitive documents appeared online. Meanwhile, a UN mission in Ukraine has said it is appalled by gruesome videos, including footage showing an alleged decapitation of a Ukrainian prisoner of war. Still on the foreign scene now, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas has urged migrants heading to the U.S. to use legal routes during a visit to Panama. Mayorkas's comments come as a record number of migrants have reportedly passed through the dangerous Darien Gap jungle between Colombia and Panama since the start of the year. According to figures by Panamanian Migration Services, over 100,000 people have taken the perilous route since January 1, 6 times the number from the same period last year. Reports say at least 52 migrants died in the Darien Gap in 2022. Mayorkas said the United States continues to enforce the country's immigration laws, and individuals coming to the United States unlawfully will continue to face consequences, including removal. Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden is in Belfast on an historic 4-day visit to Northern Ireland and the Republic. Biden is currently discussing the signing of the landmark Good Friday Agreement 25 years ago this week. In this speech, Biden tells the audience that there were no guarantees that they would be able to deliver the progress that is seen today. He added that it will take people coming together all across Northern Ireland to make it work. The U.S. president now moves on to talk about how peace in Northern Ireland World War II. But he said that they kept going because those involved believed peace was possible and will bring Americans together. He said that preserving the Good Friday Agreement and peace in Northern Ireland is a priority for Democrats and Republicans alike, something that he claims is rare in modern-day U.S. politics. Still the foreign scene now, China's President Xi Jinping has called on the country's armed forces to strengthen military training oriented towards actual combat. Xi made this comment after a naval inspection amid heightened tension in the region after the show of force by Beijing. In response by Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen went to the United States, where she met a bipartisan group of lawmakers. Beijing is also enraged by a plan for U.S. forces to use a growing number of bases in the Philippines, including one near Taiwan.
Thank you, Xavier Roberts. Good evening and welcome to Business News. My name is Blyden Ukem. In the news, U.S. inflation rate falls more than expected. The annual inflation rate in the U.S. eased for a 9th consecutive period to 5% in March, the lowest since May 2021, and compared to market expectations, the core inflation inched up for the first time in 6 months to 5.6%, boosted by higher shelter costs. To the energy market. Nigeria's price benchmark Brent crude futures jumped almost 1.5% to approach $87 a barrel today, hitting levels not seen since January, benefiting from a general dollar weakness on the U.S. inflation rate. Moscow vowed to reduce production, while pipeline flows from Iraq's semi-autonomous Kurdistan region remain halted, according to reports. On the demand side, investors continue to see oil demand from China rising. In Africa, Ghana's inflation rate drops for 3rd month, and after reaching a more than 2-decade high of 54.1% in December. Inflation measures the overall increase in prices or increase in the cost of living in a country. This was the lowest reading since last October, A stronger currency was reflected in softer increases in prices of both food, 50.8% against 59.1% in February, and non-food items, 40.6% against 47.9%. In Nigeria, the International Monetary Fund has predicted that Nigeria's economic growth will fall from 3.2% in 2023 to 3% in 2024. In its World Economic Outlook report, the IMF improved Nigeria's 2024 economic growth projection to 3% from 2.9% stated in its January update, but return is expected to fall from 3.4% in 2022 to 2.8% in 2023. It's time for the Nigerian stock market report. At the end of today's trading session on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the benchmark All-Share Index inched up 0.42 basis points to close at 51,953.41 points. And the current market capitalization is 28.3 trillion naira. Compared with yesterday's trading day, today's data shows 85% decline in volume, 63% decline in turnover, and 9% decline in deals. In aggregate, 108 listed equities participated in trading, ending with 16 gainers and 11 losers. Skyway Aviation Handling Corporation led the gainers with 10% share price appreciation, closing of 10% at 54 kobo per share. Transcorp Nigeria recorded the highest volume of 118 million traded shares. This is all on business news, and back to Xavier Robert for the rest of the news.
Many thanks, Blyden. Still to come in the news. Marcus Rashford to miss few games for Man United due to muscle injury. Let's stay with this. Many thanks for staying tuned. Now in health, the Medical and Dental Council has said medical and dental certificates issued by medical schools in Ukraine from 2022 will not be honored by the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria until when normal academic activities resume in Ukraine. The Medical Council made this known on its social media platforms. Recall that the council had in 2022 warned that it would not recognize certificates issued by Ukrainian medical schools until normal academic activities resume. The council also reiterated that online medical degrees were equally not recognized. The council further advised students who were studying medicine or dentistry in Ukrainian medical schools to seek transfer to other accredited medical or dental schools in other countries for the completion of at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital. Dr. Agabi Osigwe has called for more awareness and training on symptoms of Parkinson's disease to ensure early and accurate diagnosis to enhance treatment. Osigwe said Parkinson's disease is a brain disorder that causes unintended or uncontrollable movements such as shaking, stiffness, and difficulty with balance and coordination. He noted that people with Parkinson's experience stigma in places where there are ignorance, myths, and misconceptions about the disease and its cause. The consultant neurologist said access to medications had also been a challenge, adding that the drugs are relatively expensive and unaffordable for the majority of patients with the condition. In sports now, Marcus Rashford will miss Manchester United's Europa League quarter-final first leg clash with Sevilla after suffering a muscle injury that is likely to keep him out for a few games. Recall that the 25-year-old, who has scored 28 goals for Erik ten Hag's side this season, limped out of the 2-0 Premier League win over Everton on Saturday. The forward was withdrawn in the 80th minute of Saturday's 2-0 Premier League win over Everton at Old Trafford and immediately headed to the dressing room for treatment. To the sports, rival bidders for Manchester United have been invited to submit a third offer by the end of April. Sheikh Jassim and British billionaire Jim Ratcliffe both submitted a second bid for the Premier League club last month. Meanwhile, several offers are understood to have been received in recent weeks, but Sheikh Jassim and Ratcliffe remain the front runners to buy United should the Glazers give up control of the club they bought in 2005 for £790 million. Recall that United's unpopular owners announced in November they were conducting a strategic review, with the sale of the club one option being considered. On entertainment, Davido has released the first music video of his fourth Timeless album, which is unavailable, featuring South African star Musa Keys. The music video sees the announcement of Davido's return after a prolonged moment away from the limelight. In the visuals directed by Damis Twitch, Davido joined dancers dressed in colorful South African traditional attire while delivering steps of the trending unavailable music. Recall that since the album's release, Davido has dominated streaming platforms and broken multiple first-week records. In a separate development, veteran Nigerian producer and music executive Michael Ajere, popularly known as Don Jazzy, has debunked claims that he buys fake streams to boost his Chinese songs on digital streaming platforms using Streaming Farm. Recall that in favor of their artists. In an interview, the Marvin boss declared that there was no such thing as Streaming Farm. He urged up-and-coming artists not to be deceived by the speculations of an existing streaming farm that can boost stream numbers, admonishing them to work harder in achieving their goals. And lastly, on entertainment tonight, former Big Brother Nigeria reality show star Saga Adeolu has broken his silence on the viral proposal video of him and his colleague Nini Singh. Recall that the romantic-themed photos and videos of the duo recently went viral, sparking engagement rumors. Saga has now dismissed the rumors in a recent radio interview, saying the proposal video was a skit. According to him, he was shocked when he found out that the video had been leaked. Meanwhile, his disclaimer dashed the hopes of fans who were anticipating seeing them join the exclusive list of Big Brother Nigeria alumni who became couples. Nini was Saga's love interest when they both featured on the Big Brother Nigeria reality show Season 6 in 2021. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. You've been watching Spectrum News at 9. My name is Xavier Robert. Wishing you a terrific night rest. Good night.